All right, and tonight my green warrior is Alex Musembi, who is an entrepreneur and, of course, somebody who's very passionate about the environment. And he's the co-founder and general manager for ACT, that is Africa Collect Textiles. Now, what exactly do Africa Collect Textiles do? So he'll be giving us all that information. Now, back in 2023, he actually won a Global Entrepreneurship Award as well for his contribution to ACT. So let's get right into it. Karibuni, thank you so much, Alex, for being here, and we appreciate your time. So maybe you can tell us more about Africa Collect Textiles and what really inspired you to be one of the co-founders.
My name is Alex Musembi. I'm one of the co-founders of Africa Collect Textiles. And our work here in Kenya, Nairobi, and also in Lagos, Nigeria, is to collect post-consumer textiles, basically for reuse and recycling. The inspiration was or came about when we were working with a multinational company in some years. That was 10 years back. And behind that, then a lot of textiles or mitumba in our company, where we used to sell second-hand clothing to Kenya. So out of that and curiosity, then there was a lot of textile waste being generated or being shipped into the country. Mm-hmm. So the inspiration was to collect and recycle these textiles back.
Alex, what gap do you see in Kenya's waste ecosystem, specifically?
What I see in terms of gap in waste, first I see it's an uncontrolled sector. You know, in as much as there are no policies, which I've seen now NEMA coming up with the EPR policies, so that is coming to effectuation in this May 2025. But I see still a lot of people, even a lot of companies, I would say they're not strategically plan or sensitized in terms of generation of textiles and managing their textiles waste, or even in general their waste.
Alex, can you maybe walk us through how ACT began and how the model has actually evolved since its inception, from the time it began to now, currently in 2025?
When we started, then we had a roadmap. That was 10 years ago, even before we erected or even starting this company.
Yes.
But we knew what we needed to do. So our company operates is that we are providing the public with convenient drop-off point in major malls, for example, Village Market Shopping Mall, the Junction Mall, the Riara University, or the likes of KU or JKUA, Strathmore University, or even in Pisha Hospital, Standard Chartered Bank in Chiromo. Okay. So we do have more than 40 collection centers in Nairobi, where people can be able to strategically dispose their unused items or unused textiles. That's number one. Number two, also we do have what we call door-to-door pickup. A lot of people then schedules every day when we need to go to their home, because not everyone can go to the mall. Or not everyone has a car and can go to a mall to be able to dispose their textiles. So other people opt to call us so that we can go to their homes and be able to pick these items. Either one, because they do have bulky items, and two, is when they have, for conveniency, then they need to do that. Number three, also we are a key service provider for private security groups. So we collect textiles for KK Security Group. We collect textiles for SGA Security Group. We are also collecting textiles for Shedrick Wildlife Trust. So all these means and ways on how we collect the materials. So once everything is collected, then it's brought here in our warehouse or in our facility. Yes. So we do have two facilities. One is here in Babadogo, and the other one is in Maroroi. Okay. So once everything is collected, then it's brought to our warehouse, and therefore sorting to us is our second business model after collection. Therefore, we sort materials according to two components. One is the wearables, and two is non-wearables. Okay. All the wearables are put aside, then they are put into small bales, and then they are redistributed back again to the rural areas in Moranga, Meru, etc. For non-wearable stuff, and that's the element of reusing.
Yes.
For non-wearable stuff, then we also separate textile according to different categories or according to different components. Okay. For example, like what you see here is 100% cotton. Wow. On the other side, which is 31 tons. Okay. And then we do have a mix, other mixed fabric that cannot be used. For non-mixed fabrics, for example, then we are selling it to our processing companies, for example, Ecotulibrium in Kakamega, where they are able to process it. And then for cotton material, we are planning to ship it in Belgium, the likes of Netherlands, the likes of China, because you can mix cotton and other virgin cotton to obtain a brand new clothing. Oh, wow. And that's where the element of circularity, or that's where the world is going, whereby we need to use the raw material or the available raw material we're having so that we can make brand new items. Because then the world is so much polluted and there's so much textiles, then we don't need to produce any more textile anymore. Yes. And that's the reason why we founded this company. Brilliant. So once everything is collected, sorted, and then what I'm discussing is the element of processing. Yes. Whether we process cotton into, you can mix cotton and cotton to make a brand new garment or cloth, etc. Or whether you can, we can sort and make sure we have acrylic, because we have a local processing company who can be able to process acrylic into making yarn, and they can use yarn to make a blanket and many other product line. So all this in a nutshell explains who we are and what we do.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much for that. Now, Alex, what are some of the challenges that you have encountered along the way as Africa Collect Textiles? You know, there could be cultural challenges, there could be logistical challenges, especially when it comes to redistributing as well as recycling of, you know, clothes. When you're in an African city, when you're in an African country, for instance, there are some cultural practices that sometimes they could pose as a problem to you as a company. So what are some of the things that you've seen along the way? Maybe you can take us through those.
There are quite a number of challenges when running a business, like any other normal business. I would say, number one, also understanding the business element, because a business can sound good, but if in terms of number, it doesn't make any sense, then it's not a business. So number one, the number has to be right. That means as an entrepreneur, you have to undergo like various accelerator program so that you can be able to understand the element of running a viable business. So that's number one. Number two, in terms of our business, I would say one of our biggest challenges has become awareness, because then the public need to understand that textile does not need to be mixed with other waste. Yes. Because when you mix, for example, textiles with other organic waste like food, you can never recycle such textiles. Once it has already been mixed, then it's not useful anymore. And that's why there has to be awareness. We need to continue creating awareness that textiles needs to be separated and it needs to be collected clean and dry for us to be able to process it. So that's one of the biggest challenges that I'm seeing. Another also big challenge that I'm seeing is that I would say recycling does not start by us trying to collect and recycle the material, no. The future of textile is design. So design means for us to be able to collect cotton, or for us to be able to collect one monogram of a specific material, it needs to start from the producers themselves, from the international brands, because whatever they produce is, we normally say Africa is the end of life of the raw material, including textiles. So even the problem of textile, we need to rethink about redesigning or designing the materials. And we need to make material in such a way that it can be recycled also in the future. Because as Africa, when we're talking about the end of life, we should talk about what happens once these items are in the local market.
Okay. Thank you very much. Alex, when it comes to government policies or when it comes to incentives or subsidies, what exactly would you like to say about this? Is there something that the government is doing to be able to promote people like yourself, that is Africa Collect Textiles, or just to be able to kind of come into this circular fashion industry to enhance it, to build it together? Is that some partnerships maybe you can highlight, or something that you have kind of come up with in collaboration with the government or other partners to be able to take this to the next step, the next level?
Yeah, I would say the issue now of what's happening, especially with the NEMA, National Environmental Management Authority, is I think they have done an amazing work when it comes to coming up now with the EPR policy. EPR means the extended producer responsibility.
Yes.
Even though it's still, everything is still new, but I've seen how NEMA, even 10 years back when they banned the use of plastic bags,
yes,
and they became strict and it came to effectuation. So it's the same thing that I'm seeing with the implementation of the EPR, that, and they have designed an EPR policies on how it should operate. And what they are saying is that every company or every organization that is producing waste, they must be responsible or they must be accountable with the waste they are producing. So that means every company that produces waste, they need to pay something out of that, because this X amount of shilling is the amount that needs to go towards building the infrastructure, because then Africa in the global south lacks the infrastructure to collect and distribute and recycle textiles. So with the implementation now of the APR policies, I see this as an opportunity for even us to be able to collect the APR fees through the PROs, the Producer Responsibility Organization, and we can be able to use as a country this X amount of shilling or what we call the waste tax towards building this infrastructure.
Okay, brilliant. Also, maybe you can also give us a few challenges that you've had to be able to try and convince consumers to consume your products, because we do know that some of the disadvantages of recycled garments, for instance, is the price point. The pricing point poses a big challenge for the average Kenyan to be able to purchase your garments, your clothes, whatever you're producing. So do you think there could be a day when the pricing could come down, or maybe, subsidize the rates so that people are able to uptake all these quality products, just as that in the long run, your vision is sustained?
Yeah, there are quite a number of challenges in terms of product in itself and also the pricing point. I believe there's still very few people who understand what upcycling is.
Yes.
Maybe this is being understood by the middle class or even upper class who understand the element of upcycling. But not everyone also still understands what upcycling is.
Maybe you can explain exactly what upcycling is in the most layman's language.
Yeah, upcycling is like, I would say, taking a fabric that cannot be used anymore and to transform it into another product.
Okay.
So is that a transformation or process?
Hi, I am Naina Natalie Botango. I manage the communications. The weaving is under our upcycling model, and for us as ACT, we are trying to push for upcycling to be fun. In that way, then putting it back into fashion mainstream. And what way to make it cool rather than mixing it with skills that are indigenous to us, like weaving. Weaving has been existent in Kenyan culture for the longest time. And for this technique that we use textile strips or denim strips and cotton yarn as raw material. So this is all cotton, and then we have, for example, this is how we cut the denim strips, and in which our weaver now uses, using the plain weaving technique to make the rugs. A rug like this size, which for example, this is one of our stoppers, the princess rug. If it's in a 5 by 7 feet size, it takes about 7 to 10 days to be made. But then we also have smaller sizes ranging from 2 to 3 feet, and the larger size being 2 by 3 meters. That could take almost 3 weeks or a month to make. Okay. For an illustration, most of our products are made from denim that we don't all completely get from our donations, because our donation points are focused on post-consumer waste. for example, so if you're making a 5x7 rug that needs almost 44 jeans, it's not almost every day that we get all those jeans at once in our drop-off points. So that's when now we go to our collection bin in Gikomba, which helps us then now buy the non-sellables from vendors, where we can get most of the jeans and the khaki in large quantities and then bring to the warehouse and then turn them into these products. So for the carpets, we start with getting the worn out jeans from the non-sellables that we have gotten from vendors, cut them into small strips, and then now bring them to our weavers to make them into these rugs. Yes. So again, ACT is here to bring the fun into upcycling, but also make products that are functional. So we have categories that range from school wear to home wear to outdoor wear. So we have made sure that our products can be accessible to everyone. And again, our price point, we have products that range from 1,500 up to 65K, making it making it accessible to either international or the local market. We have most of our items in stores like Sandstorm, the Artisanal Gallery, and also African Lifestyle Hub, again helping us tap into various markets.
Okay, lovely.
So for areas in Kenya that we don't have stores yet, people can reach us through our website, which is www.africacollecttextiles. We have our ACT shop on there, and you can check out your item, and then we can proceed with taking care of the shipping. Yes. I have worked with the Isolo group since 2020 when we rolled out ACT again after the long break. And when we said working with them, they were working with mostly Saiso. Yes, we love Saiso because it's a biodegradable fabric and material, and we are actually rolling out products that could have both Saiso and textile in them. But it was such a challenge to these women to work with textiles because it's something that they'd not done, and seeing them bring it to life was not only a good thing for us but also them, because now they realize they have another raw material rather than Saiso. And I think this has also helped them build their portfolios and also bring in more partners to work with them, expanding their product list. We still continue working with them. So what we do is we get the material, take it to them. They make these baskets, and then we buy the baskets from them. So it's a 50-50 win. We're also helping them financially. But we continue working with them, prototyping different designs. And yeah, we hope everyone in Kenya gets to shop and enjoy the possibilities of upcycling.
That's what we call upcycling. Downcycling is a process whereby you use, for example, let's say a mechanical machine to be able to shred a textile and to be able to obtain like a shoddy material. And you can use that shoddy material for pillow filling, for sofa set filling, etc. So we are not in that level, but this year we anticipate to be in that level because we do have some investment towards that. But for upcycling then is transforming materials or product from product to product now to make it better. So that's what upcycling is. I would say, to come back to your question about the pricing point, yes, I agree. We can never compete with Chinese, for example, fast fashion, yes. even Chinese, because then they have effectuated the process of production. There's that efficiency element they're having. Apart from that, also, why running a business in Kenya is quite difficult. You need to look, for example, into input cost. For example, electricity. Electricity in Kenya is expensive as compared to production electricity in China. So trying to compare with the Asian vis-a-vis the African country then become difficult. Yes. And this is why we are calling the government to come in, because this is now an element of external factors to make sure input cost like electricity is affordable, so that, and they can be like an attractive incentive for any investment company to come and run business in the country. Okay. So that's why competing in terms of pricing point becomes difficult. And as much as we want to say that the product is of high quality, but then the pricing point becomes too expensive, which sounds as exorbitant to any consumer who wants to consume our product. And these are some of the challenges that needs to be solved for future if we really want to attract investment, not only in the textile industry, but into other sectors that really depend on the electricity.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. And we do see the good work that you're doing here. We're seeing so many people who are actually working here in this particular go down. There's all these tailors who are doing, you know, everyone's trying to make a living. And it's nice to see that the employment that you've created for these people as well. Aside from doing something for the environment, you're also creating opportunities and you're giving them income to be able to come here and earn a living. So thank you so much for all the great work. That is Alex Musembi, the co-founder and general manager of Africa Collect Textiles, and he is our green warrior today. Thank you so much. And we do hope to see more and more work that is done by Africa Collect Textiles. So yes, keep doing your thing, and we hope to see a day when every single person will actually understand the importance of wearing recycled clothes.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming, and also to help us spread the word and to create awareness. Thank you so much for coming.